series of 7 wins.
Yeah.
And yesterday Magnus got his 6th. So today that is actually the main question.
Yeah.
Could it be 7? Could he do a Sinkerfield as well?
Yeah. Well, he's playing Ivanchuk, so that can go any way. It's Ivanchuk. He started very well in the tournament. Now he's a bit wobbly, and
with Vasyl, of course, everybody knows his mental state is a bit vulnerable at times, and so this could be a bad moment to come up against Carlsen, who was winning game after game. On the other hand, I was looking yesterday in the database, and games they played in 2008, then 2009, and then I stopped because they just kept playing each other. It's ridiculous how often they play each other.
Yeah.
But in fact, Ivanchuk's score against Carlsen is not bad at all. So he has a good record against him. So I don't think he's too much afraid, too much respectful for the world champion. And being white, well, my prediction would be that Carlsen is not going to do a Sinkerfield.
Okay, well he's unpredictable. That's what we know for sure. The last time they played against each other was an upset in London at the candidates tournament, and I remember at that time Ivanchuk was in a similar state to what he is in now. I mean, you see him walking around. He's not on this planet. We don't know where he is exactly. He's supposed to be on planet Chucky, as they say. And he was in that mood in London as well. He wasn't playing well at all. He was doing pretty poorly. And then he played Carlsen,
yes.
So
and then he helped the other top players by beating Kramnik as well.
Yeah.
At the end, so he was the great socialist of that tournament.
Yes.
He took from the rich and gave to the poor.
Exactly. And in fact, those were practically his only 2 bright moments in that tournament. Let's have a look at this game. Maybe you can.
Yeah. Let's see where the mouse is.
You want your
mouse? Without the mouse,
was
we are nothing
cheese.
nowadays. So we go to that game. No idea where the mouse is moving.
Oh, it's here on this screen, but you can swap it over to there.
Yeah. Right, there it is.
Yeah.
So how is it?
You click on that
here?
one on the left.
Click on this board.
That one, yeah. So here we are.
Now we're good to go. No, this is not.
You can also use these, I think.
Yeah, this is
easier.
apparently next move, right?
No, but you can use this one.
Yeah, better.
Yeah, well, it's easier for you.
So via this move order, we get Queen's Gambit, and Carlsen plays Bishop B4. It's choice of, for instance, from the Netherlands, Sosonko. He played it many times. With Ivanchuk and Carlsen, it's absolutely impossible to say what the opening will be.
Yeah.
In all those games they played, they kept switching to anything. So must have been very hard for them to prepare for this game.
Do you think they bothered? Or?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, maybe Magnus didn't. I mean, Ivanchuk, he must have been looking for something that. I mean, he's a genius at that, isn't he? Just finding things to surprise. I mean, it's always a surprise with Vassily.
Yeah, he's had a very, very, very broad repertoire for many years. On the other hand, with Carlsen nowadays, it's also pretty unclear. For instance, against Anand, he was playing many Grinfelds. Could have happened today.
Yeah.
And Ivanchuk is supposed to be extremely good at openings, which is true, of course. But then a few days ago against Wesley So, he ran into this Marshall line that everybody knew except Ivanchuk, strangely enough.
Well, let's say everyone who reads New in Chess. Huh?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. My milkman said he didn't know it, so at least Ivanchuk has some support.
And you gave him a free subscription. That's kind.
I must have almost not forgotten that. Yes.
No, but it was published in various places.
Yeah,
but it was.
Well, the main thing is that nowadays, if you're live on the site, you see this computer analysis on the site. And during that game in the candidates tournament last March, between Anand and Aronian, the computer already gave that line with the sacrifice and the follow-up, and gave it as very promising for black, which is true. Yeah. So since that day, all people who've been looking live started telling all their friends, and somehow, if you have enough of a social field, you'll have to hear about it.
Yeah, because I was surprised that Anish Giri, he revealed this line in his analysis, and I thought, aren't you giving away things? But of course, it's the moment this is being played, as you say, then it's no longer a secret for the Grandmasters.
He's not giving away all that much.
No.
So we're getting this line where white takes on f6, gives his bishop. It's quite well known. And so far it's a relatively calm game. White has chosen not to take on d5. C takes d5 is actually the main line somewhere in this period. And this is interesting that Ivanchuk has his own ideas about the variation. And it could also mean that very soon Carlsen will be done with his preparation, and he will have to find the moves by himself. But I was told he's not so bad at that.
No.
This is another interesting moment, because as long as the bishop lives on f1, black would prefer to wait before taking on c4. He always wants to see white lose another tempo with his bishop and then play d takes c4.
So can he wait? Or?
But, well, that's the problem. So apparently he must have thought, if I wait any longer, there will be a moment where white goes c takes d5, opening up the c file for his rook. He just put on c1. Also after a3, do I want to take on c3 or not? If I don't, then d5 is not defended. So there was a bit of a problem with that. So he would have had to protect his d pawn once more if he really didn't want to take on c4. And for that he would have to play a move c6 or rook d8 that perhaps he's not so keen on playing in this system.
Yeah,
but it's all.
Maybe you can show that, John. I mean, if you, because this general idea.
So I think the most logical move, if you don't want to take on c4, would be rook d8, protecting d5, and then if white plays a3 to force the bishop to speak, then black must choose either bishop takes and white takes with the rook. Where white is just slightly better because of the c file. The rook is indirectly attacking this pawn on c7. And that's one way. Let's see if we go back now for some moves. We go here, a3. The other choice would be to keep the bishop. This would be the nicest option, but there may be a problem with that. If white now takes on d5, pawn takes d5, and he goes knight b5. Knight black didn't want to have, now suddenly comes to hurt him, and he succeeds in doing that, because now point c7 is too weak. So it would mean that his rook d8 line doesn't give black the option of keeping the bishops, and that might explain Carlsen's choice.
So he took on c4, and well, as we are informed, this c5 that he plays, he has played before. It's a logical move in this position.
Yes. So we were informed it was played by Carlsen himself, also by Michael Adams, another very regular guest at the Tata steel chess tournaments. We've played many times, and still Adams is one of the most difficult players to beat. He's extremely solid, extremely practical. He's not even a great theoretician, but he always manages to get positions that he can handle very well.
On the other hand, he has been working with a lot of strong players, and you think he was then chosen for his general insight, or?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so, because he's not such a book adept, but he's so experienced in playing at the very top level that he always has his own practical ways of treating positions, and that could be nice in a match. That if you tend to look at only the main lines all the time, maybe it's good to have someone who can tell you what else is there, what else might be common sense in the position. So I believe it's not a bad choice to have him.
No, and I think probably apart from Kasparov himself, he's the only player who worked with both Kasparov and Carlsen.
Yeah, could be. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think in Kasparov's case, this was kept secret for a long time. But I remember asking Adams and say, "Did you work with?" Oh, I'm not going to say anything about that. You just have to ask him. Which was an interesting way of saying yes.
Actually, it's already an answer if he reacts
exactly.
like that.
Yeah. Before we proceed, John, we have to mention something. If you want to tweet, that's sending messages on Twitter, you can do so at Tata Steel Chess. And if it's a decent tweet, I mean, if it's not indecent, then we reply to that.
We have a man here who filters the tweets, who protects us from insults. You know, these prophets here will not be insulted.
No, we can just follow his pain, his face twisted in pain when things are not going. But we have one. We have one.
We have a tweet. Why not?
The best game of the tournament today: Ivanchuk, the original versus Magnus, the human computer. Aha. All right.
Well, I'm not sure that Magnus would agree with these qualifications, but well, we'll see. We'll see who makes the first move that have never been played. He will be the original.
Yeah. I think that it often was said that Magnus was the leader of the computer generation, and I think that was highly unfair, because if there was one person who just kept his own judgments and didn't let himself led by the computer all the time, it was him. I mean, he in fact, we could see him as some defense against the almighty power of the computer.
He has changed completely from playing mainstream openings to lines where he doesn't search the most principled moves and doesn't search an immediate advantage.
Yeah.
He just wants the position where he can slowly outplay his opponent. It's a completely different practical approach. There's a couple of more moves, and then we can switch to a game that's a bit sharper than this one.
Okay.
So c5 was played, as we said, and it's the normal way to get rid of that weak c-pawn and destroy White's center. White allowed it. Black took on d4, and White took on d4. Now this position with the c and d files open, this could unfortunately become a pretty boring position where nothing much is going on. But it depends on Black's development. White is well developed with all his pieces. Black has some work to do, and that's the question. Does he manage? In that case, he has nothing to fear. If not, well, maybe there could be some difficult moments. But I think there's been some interesting things going on in the most Asian game we got.
Yep.
Which is Ding Liren against Wesley So, where somebody's already a pawn down voluntarily, not by blundering. So we can go to the starting position here.
Well, it reminds me of a useful course that you once taught me, how you could have a conversation in Russia eternally by just repeating one question or one sentence.
I'm sorry, we have some hot news coming up.
Is there hot news coming up?
We have to go back to Ivanchuk Carlsen.
Ivanchuk Carlsen.
The bad news is that the game is finished already.
Yeah.
So really, we have another sinker field if Carlsen wins. So we go to this position.
Yeah.
There had just been an exchange on d4. And now Carlsen played a very simple move to develop his queenside pieces. He played bishop d7. So next move will be knight c6 unless White does something about it. White does do something about it. He went queen b3. Now at first sight it looks as if there's a lot of danger for Black. The bishop is attacked, but not only that, also this pawn on b7 behind the bishop is in trouble. So could this be the refutation of bishop d7? Well, according to Carlsen, it's nothing to worry about. He develops the other piece as planned. Of course, now White can take it. Knight takes c6, and the bishop on b4 is hanging. So the bishop has to take on c3. And here white played the most calm, normal, quiet reply, rook takes bishop. We can have a brief look. If white could play more ambitiously, he could play queen takes b7. But in that case, I believe Carlsen would have played this very simple reply, bishop takes knight, queen takes, bishop takes b2, regaining the pawn. And yeah, we must admit this position too looks very drawish. So rook takes c3 was what happened, but now black gets also what he wants, bishop takes c6.